Okay, today what we did is we went to my buddy's auto body shop and he gave us a bunch of parts, a bunch of doors and stuff. They're all off Chevys, they're heavier metal. We were buying 24 gauge, we kept blowing holes through it. We went down to a little lighter gauge, 0.024, which has really helped. We're not blowing holes and everything. If you remember what in the episode, What's Under the Paint, there were hairline cracks that cracked in here. They all cracked down. It was actually a body defect. They're on both sides of the doors and they're in the back corners. We'll show you the back corners in a later episode. So everybody's probably saying, oh my God, he didn't cut that piece out and weld it back in. Okay, the reason for that is we tried doing that. And as soon as we did that, we got that all squared up, then the body's so weak right there, it cracked right down here. So we did to compensate for that, we cut a heavier plate, cut it and formed it in there. We got it as tight as we could to the metal, and we welded all the way around. So it's working like a metal gusset in there is what it's doing now. Instead of just another piece of metal cut out and try to tack it, it's flexing there. We know that because it was a factory defect. So every time that flexes, the welds are going to crack or the metal's going to crack. Bottom line. So what we did is we actually made a metal gusset out of this and put it over the top of the cracks. And we found a real firm part on there. This is still hot, so I got to kind of watch. So we found the thickest part of the metal, because what happened is when they formed the body, it got real thin right in here. Going down the road, it's bouncing. Pretty soon it cracked. Guys fixed it. Like I said in the earlier episode, What's Under the Paint, we showed you the crack. With this plate right over the top of the steel, using the strongest parts of the steel instead of putting it inside there, we got this is holding where all that weak spots were in here. This is tight in here now. So we're going to grind this down real nice. We'll get this all feathered back and cleaned up. And we got to do a little bit more work in here. But when we get that all done, there's actually a divot in there anyway. So we're going to grind that all up real nice, get it real clean. Then we might have to pound down a little bit. We're just going to put a little bit of putty over there. This will hold up. When you put the panel down inside the metal in these pieces, I know on every other piece, that's the way to do it. But here we actually need extra strength. And that's what we did by putting that whole panel in there. This thing is firm as hell now. It's never going to move. It's never going to crack again. So that's kind of why we did it like this. We're going to do some grinding and stuff, get her cleaned up, and I'll show you the finished product when we're all done here. But you'll kind of understand why we're doing it the way we are. Thanks. Okay, like we said, we built strength into this now. This patch panel is over the top of the regular metal. We've ground all these edges. It's ready for putty. We got to take the fine line in here. We'll clean this all up. We might have to build it up a little bit more. But when we're all done with this, it's going to look just like a factory edge. You'll never know we did this. But because this is covering from here to here now, welded all the way down, all the way across, we got strength built in here. That's something that Chevrolet made a mistake on. Now everybody's like, oh my God, that's not the way to do it. You don't put metal over metal. You have to do it for strength here. These panel vans are notorious for cracking here. You have to put the panel over the top. Your strength is here. And everybody's like, oh, your putty's never going to line up now. Well, here's what we're going to show you. The way we put that in there and ground it down. And you see the air gap behind there? Because we know this panel's got to come up this high. That's factory. There was factory putty in here. So now, as you can see, put the camera underneath here, hon. As you can see the air gap? That's where your putty's going to go anyway. And you're still going to be less than a quarter inch all the way up on there. And we just blend it right in the body line on the top here. We might have to tap this down a little bit up here to get it a little bit right there. I'm not going to grind anymore because we're going to take too much metal away. We're going to be back in the same spot Chevrolet was in. You're going to blow holes in it. So we got that heavier point over the top. But now we got something to work with. We know we got good solid metal underneath there. It'll never crack again. So that's the way to do a strength patch. I know what everybody's saying, oh, got to cut it on, weld it in. That's great. You won't get the strength you got here. Metal over metal, twice the strength. If it cracks underneath there, this piece of metal is over the top. It's welded all the way across, all the way down the sides. This will hold up. The putty will never crack. The body will never crack there again. Not saying it might not travel back, but this here is real heavy back in here. It's just the way they designed and rolled the metal here. It got real thin. Got thin, it cracked. Like I said earlier, we're going to take this now. We're going to grind this back. We might have to build it up some more with some wire feed. Not a big deal. We're going to take our time and do it right. This van, we want to paint it and last forever. That's kind of the goal here. So we'll show you the back corners here in a little bit. Trying to get the front corners done right now. So we got a strength patch in there. That body will never crack or separate again like it did from the factory. We're going to set up a little grinder and we're going to go in here and touch this all up real nice, make it real pretty. And that's where we're at right now. Keep on rolling.